Welcome to Manifested Publishers.
Hello and welcome, learners, to our today's learning session. The subject is social studies. In our last lesson, we introduced the topic citizenship. And we learned that a good citizen should show acceptable behavior. He or she should also work and be productive in the society. But we also learned that there are a number of things that may make a citizen to behave in an irresponsible manner. One of these things is the use of drugs. When a citizen abuses drugs, that will lead to what we call irresponsible behavior. We went further to define a drug as either a substance taken as medicine or a non-medicinal or illegal substance which when taken changes the way the body works. That's the meaning of drug. We went ahead to define drug abuse. We learned that drug abuse refers to misuse or wrong use of drugs. We stated that even medical drugs that are prescribed by a doctor can be harmful if they are misused. For example, when you take an overdose of some medicines, like painkillers or antibiotics. We went further to state that non-medicinal drugs are very dangerous. These non-medicinal drugs, we learned, are used to give a false temporary feeling of pleasure or relaxation or boundless energy or well-being. We saw that when some of the drugs or substances are taken regularly, when a person takes these non-medicinal drugs regularly, they become addictive. This means that after taking them, the user may not be able to do without them. Why? Because the brain and the body depend on the drugs in order to function. We then mentioned the commonly used or commonly abused drugs and substances like marijuana, alcohol, caffeine, heroin, mirror, and so on. That's what we learned in our last lesson. In our today's lesson, I want us to study the effects of drug and substance abuse. All right? Today we are going to study effects of drug and substance abuse. All right? So, learners, the misuse of drugs and substances has negative effects. When you abuse drugs, then that abuse of drugs has negative effects, bad effects. And the first effect, I can say the abuse, let me say, the abuse of drugs has the following negative effects. These are bad effects. Number one is psychological instability. Psychological instability. This word psychological, from the word psychology, from the word psych. When you read a word psychological, psychology, it just refers to the mind. Okay? The users, learners of those who abuse drugs, we are discussing the effects of drug and substance abuse, and I've said one is psychological instability. Users or abusers of drugs may become irresponsible and confused. Why? Because there are certain drugs that affects the way the mind or the brain operates. They may develop, some may develop suicidal tendencies, others may be aggressive. It may lead to aggression, such that they always pick quarrels with others. There are those when they abuse drugs, like alcohol, like marijuana. When you abuse marijuana, when you abuse alcohol, then you become sometimes confused. And that may lead to the behavior we are calling aggression, become very aggressive, very abusive. You pick quarrels with others easily. That's why we see some in our society, those who are drunk, they are always shouting, quarreling, chaotic, and so on. Why? Because they are not psychologically stable. These drugs affect the way the mind works. When you take these drugs, then you become psychologically unstable. Okay? You are not psychologically stable. Psychological instability. So that is one negative effect. Number two, poor health. Poor health. Poor health. Drugs and substances such as alcohol, such as nicotine, such as miraa, may lead to lack of appetite. There are drugs when taken, people lose appetite. And that's why the users of such drugs may become poor feeders. Poor feeders. And if you are a poor feeder, then that will definitely affect your health. If you don't eat food, that will affect your health. It will lead to poor health. There are certain drugs that cause people to lose appetite, like miraa, nicotine, alcohol, and so on. I know some people who don't take vegetables. I know people who abuse alcohol. They have lost appetite for vegetables and fruits. They only take meat. So such people in the long run will be sick. Why? Because they don't take proper diet. Our bodies need vitamin. They need vitamin on daily basis. So if you don't take vegetables, if you don't take in fruits, then you will develop a very poor immune system. And that is a negative effect of drug abuse. Okay? Users of such drugs may not develop good health because they are poor feeders. Then the third effect of abuse, drug abuse, is social and moral decline. Social and moral decline. Drug abuse, especially of alcohol and marijuana, may lead to neglect of families and lack of proper moral and spiritual values. Those who misuse drugs like alcohol and marijuana, okay, or sometimes they neglect their families, and that will lead to breaking up of families. This may cause families to do what? To break, social decline. So it is, and it may also lead to irresponsible sexual behavior by such people. Okay? Because when you are drunk, you cannot make proper judgment. So abusing alcohol, abusing marijuana may break families, may cause families to break. So that leads to social decline, may also lead to moral decline, because we said, learners, that drugs affects the way the body and the mind or the brain works. So when you take in drugs, then you cannot make right judgment. You are likely to make wrong judgment, and the wrong judgment that you make will cause or lead to social decline and moral decline. People who abuse drugs have no respect for spiritual values. They don't, because these are people who are not sober. Okay? Not sober. Then another bad effect is increase. This may lead to increase in road accidents. Increase in road accidents. Drug abuse can lead to increase in cases of road accidents. And these occur because the drug users are not able to handle themselves properly on the road, either as drivers, cyclists, or pedestrians. If you abuse drugs and you are using roads, public roads, either as a driver or as a cyclist or as a pedestrian. Pedestrian is the one who uses the feet to walk from one point to another point. The one who uses the legs to walk from point A to point B. If you are a drug abuser, if you are drunk, walking along the road and you are drunk, then you are likely to cause accidents. We've seen people being knocked down on the roads when they are drunk, because sometimes they don't make the right judgment. We saw that if you want to cross a road, you need to check if there are oncoming cars. You look on your left, look on your right, then look on your left again. If there is no vehicle, you cross. But when you are drunk, you are most likely not to see properly, because we say that drugs affect the proper functioning of the body. Okay? When you don't see properly because of drunkenness, you are likely to cause accidents. When you are driving and you are drunk, you normally say don't drink and drive. But we've had cases, increase in cases of road accidents because of drunk driving, including cycling. So, effect of drug abuse, one effect is it leads to increased cases in road accidents. Then number 5, we have increase in diseases. Increase leads to increase in diseases. Drugs such as alcohol and nicotine, which is found in cigarettes, cause diseases such as lung cancer, brain damage, stomach ulcers, throat cancer, liver cirrhosis. These diseases may cause death. Moreover, they may also cause abortion in pregnant mothers or cause deformation of the unborn babies. That sounds bad, all right? Sounds bad. Cancer is a very bad disease. Brain damage. Can you imagine damaging your brain because of alcohol, because of nicotine? After struggling a lot in life, you've gone through preschool, you've gone to primary school, you are in standard 7, you go to secondary school, university, you are working, then you start drinking, then you are diagnosed with lung cancer, with brain damage, stomach ulcers because of drugs. If you are a mother, you affect the unborn baby. There are some people who are born with deformation. Deformation of the unborn may cause deformation. It may also cause abortion. Drug abuse, drugs can lead to diseases. So that's negative effects. Okay, that's a negative effect of drug abuse. Next, financial problems. 6, financial problems. Financial what? Financial problems. Financial problems relates to money. People who are addicted to drugs need constant supply of money to buy the drugs. This could lead to neglect of essential things such as food, housing, clothing, and so on. They may also end up stealing money or taking loans that they are not able to repay. Financial problems, because some of these drugs are very expensive. Cigarettes are expensive. Buying cigarettes every day. There are people who are chain smokers, smoking throughout. Buy cigarettes, smoking throughout. Okay? Beer is expensive. Cocaine is expensive. All these drugs are expensive. So people who are addicted to drugs, these are people who depend on drugs. They cannot function properly without drugs. They need constant supply of money. And you can imagine someone who is always drunk. This is a person who may not be able to work because you can only get money after working. Money is a byproduct of work. You get money after working. But if you are always drunk, then you may not be able to make money. Yet you need constant supply of money to buy drugs. So what happens? Those who are addicted to these drugs, they end up neglecting essential things. They don't buy food. They don't buy food for themselves. They don't buy food for their families. They don't provide housing. They don't pay rent. They don't buy clothes. Why? Because they may not have enough money to do all those things. The little money they may have, they end up buying drugs because they need constant supply of drugs as a result of addiction to drugs. Then we have number 7, work-related problems. Work-related problems. People who misuse drugs may end up being dependent on the drugs in order to work. So overdependence on drugs reduces a person's productivity and efficiency of work. And this may result in loss of employment. Those who are dependent on drugs, if your body depends on, say, alcohol in order to work, then you can imagine if you are, say, a waiter or a driver, you may not work for long, because if you are serving customers as a waiter and you are drunk, then you see you may not be able to even carry the food. You may not be able to talk to people properly. If you are a driver and you're always drunk, you may cause accidents. So in the end, you lose your employment, and that is a negative effect of drug and substance abuse. So learners, these are 7 negative effects of drugs and drug abuse. I want you to go through the lesson, the video, one more time. Take it at your own pace. Take notes. I've just written points. You need to take notes. Go through the lesson one more time. 7 negative effects of drug abuse. Number 1, psychological instability. Number 2, poor health. Number 3, social and moral decline. Number 4, increase in road accidents. Number 5, increase in diseases. Number 6, financial problems. Number 7, work-related problems. And on that note, we bring the lesson to a close. But before we do that, I'm going to give you one revision question. Highlight 7 negative effects of drug and substance abuse. Learners, when answering this question, try not to refer directly to your notes. See if you can recall what you have learned in our today's lesson from your memory. Bye-bye.